How many of you are complaining of having acidity day in and day out? And how many of you do actually take medications for the so-called acidity on a daily basis? This is Dr. Lenny DaCosta, a geriatric physician, a functional medicine expert, and the author of the upcoming book, Is Your Doctor Keeping You Sick? My dear friends, yes. Today, let us look at this so-called acidity. Acidity that we complain of every day, day in and day out, or that we take medications for day in and day out. Is it really acidity? And if it is so, what are the causes for it and what should we be doing? Right? So first, let me dispel this small myth. Many a times, because of our overuse of medications, our hyperacidity becomes hypoacidity and the symptoms are very similar. And doctors normally miss this. We as doctors, even me myself, have missed this many a times. So, taking charge of what you do and what I'm going to say further on in this small video will help you actually get out of this conundrum of whether you have hyperacidity or have hypoacidity. So let's begin. What are the causes of acidity? I will not say hyper or hypo, I just say acidity because that is what you complain of. So what are the causes of acidity? One, our food or our eating. What kind of food we eat. And so here I would say one of the major causes of acidity is our dependence on wheat and gluten-based foods and milk and casein-based foods, both of which are responsible for creating what we call GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease. Those are the symptoms that you get when you say you have acidity. The second type of food that I have seen causing these problems is too much of spice. Highly spicy food causes the same problem. You start getting GERD. Third, too much of coffee, too much of tea. This is another food substance that does cause GERD or acidity. And finally, something that we don't accept is our erratic food timings. Because of work, we eat lunch and dinner and breakfast at whatever time we feel. No, the body has a certain cycle, a diurnal cycle, by which it functions. And if you start doing this, then the body starts getting all kinds of problems. If you're too hungry and you eat, that hunger itself causes a little bit of acidity, which then reacts with the food that you eat and causes more acidity. So you need to understand the second, we tend to eat very late in the night and go to sleep quickly. One of the worst habits you can have, this is one primary reason why most of the patients that I see have and complain of acidity do have acidity or GERD, where we have to treat such patients. Best form of treatment, just correct these bad habits and you will get better. The second is our lifestyle. No exercise, and too high stress. So exercise and stress, if you do exercise regularly, probably you will not have GERD. Why? Because when you don't have exercise, the general body structure, the way the body is made, you are not allowing it to fully function. We were made to be hunter-gatherers. We were supposed to hunt for our food and survive. We don't do that anymore. We are in a sedentary lifestyle. We sit the whole day. I'm sure you've heard of the new adage, sitting is the new smoking. The more you sit down and do your work, it's as bad as smoking a cigarette every half an hour. That is how bad inactivity is. So you need to do exercise regularly, which actually gets rid of the GERD the number of times. And then the other thing is stress. Too much of stress also causes acidity or GERD. And then we have our bad habits. Smoking, drinking. Two sure ways of actually harming yourself. So you pay to harm yourself. The more you smoke, the more you develop acidity or GERD. The more you drink alcohol, the more you develop GERD or acidity. Most of my patients, I tell them, these two habits you give up, probably you'll get rid of your GERD or acidity. So we've touched upon quite a few causes. Let's see how we can get rid of this. It's simple. You fight the causes, remove the causes, and your acidity goes away. Easier said than done, right? And that's what my patients always tell me. But yes, it is easy. You can stop having wheat for once. So let's look at the food. Stop having wheat and wheat products. Stop having milk and milk products. Go for healthier diets, more balanced diets. Eat at the same time every day. Keep a 2-hour gap between your eating and your sleeping at night. Then we need to stop our smoking, bad habits, stop smoking, cut down on drinking or stop it if possible, because if you're having bad GERD, this is one way that you can actually cut down, and taking medications will help you only to some extent. So if you continue smoking and drinking, it's not going to help you in the long run. So cut down smoking, cut down drinking, and then finally our lifestyles. So we need to actually go down and look as to what causes us stress and cut those stresses out. The best way to do it is do some yoga, go and do some breathing exercises, laugh a lot, cut the stress levels in your life. That is the one sure way to cut down GERD or acidity, as you may call it. And finally, I've been saying this in and out, for the best health, getting rid of all problems, including GERD and acidity, is exercise. You need to exercise at least 10 minutes every day. And exercise, I don't mean walk, actual exercise. Do a high intensity training or interval training every day. What does exercise do and how does it get rid of the GERD? First, the peristalsis improves. Second, if you happen to be a borderline diabetic or having metabolic syndrome, and these are the people who also have high amounts of GERD and acidity, what happens when you exercise is that the whole metabolic syndrome itself starts kind of settling down, and you do not have too much of high sugars and high insulin. High sugars itself cause a decrease in the peristalsis. This peristaltic movement improves, and therefore you don't have that GERD, the gastroesophageal reflux, coming up. That stops your acidity from happening. Exercise is one of the best things that you can do going forward. My dear friends, I've given you a few tips on getting rid of one of the most commonest symptoms that we see on a day-to-day basis in my clinic. I have 8 out of 10 patients who always complain of acidity. I always tell them taking medications is not the answer, because the more medication you take, the less is your absorption of nutrients. The less is your absorption of nutrients, the less is the fuel that you're giving your body to work normally. So when you don't have proper nutrients getting absorbed because of the medications you take for acidity, you continue being sick. My dear friends, I want you to be healthy. The one way to do it is just take care of the habits, take care of the kind of foods that you eat, stop the spicy food, stop the wheat and milk products. This will help you. Eat at the right time. Don't go to sleep immediately after meals. These are things that you can take care of on your own. Stop the smoking and drinking, cut down the stress, and do daily exercise. Few tips that you can do yourself. You don't need the doctor, you don't need the medications. This will help you get the acidity out of your lives, and you will live a more healthy, happy life. If you like this video, please share it, give me a thumbs up, and do watch my YouTube channels for lots of videos. I have lots of videos on my YouTube channel. Do come next week again. I have another video coming up. I'll see you then. Bye.